I don't remember what all I dreamed last night, but at least one of them involved the fact my tent was actually set up in front of a bunch of houses when I just thought I was out in the woods. It rained for a good chunk of the night, but looks like I might be getting a break for a little while. Unfortunately, while packing the tent away is fine, this sucks. My layers are basically really wet from yesterday. It wasn't so much the rain hitting me, it's just the humidity goes up, and as I'm going up and down and sweating and everything, I just get sodden. And there's no way to dry stuff out unless you have access to a dryer. And I literally picked my gear so it is the fastest drying. You know, I try a bunch of different things, and I've had sun hoodies that I really liked. I liked how they looked, I liked their features, etc., their color, but it just didn't dry out quick. These Jolly gear have been pretty good to the point where I could jump into the Mississippi and then they would not like adhere too much and they would dry quick, but there are a few things I hate more than being cold and damp in the morning. I am torn between wanting my hiking superpower to be never having to go to the bathroom or magically being able to dry things. This is spectacular back here. And other than a few vehicles at the roads, I haven't seen anybody else since I entered this park. I am just a few miles out from a tourist area, visitor center, and a bunch of other stuff. This also feels like the coldest it's been in a little while. I would actually have my fleece on if I had a dryish base layer to put underneath it. Short of more unexpected trail angeling, I don't know when I'm going to get access to a hotel to dry stuff out again. Next couple of towns don't seem to have anything unless I, hike 3 miles into Waverly or something. Good and bad of these more remote sections. I officially outran the last of the new comments on the Hiking America data set this year. There are a couple of people up ahead, but they aren't doing the ADT. They're splitting off and taking shorter routes or headed for other areas. So I keep wanting to get a better view of some of these little trickle falls, but at the same time, I've had such less than great luck with mud the last week or so. I'm wary of getting anywhere near any sort of an edge. Okay, theoretically, I think there's somebody waiting for me down at the bottom of this hill.
Ian had been following me basically since I started making videos down in Florida, and he had driven several hours to come down, see me, buy me a coffee, bring me some treats, and then he walked the Gatewood Trail with me.
And that one warning on the National Forest page is the only one we could find. I haven't been able to get any sort of consistent, oh yeah, you can't drink the water through here. Oh, come on, knees. Yeah. You never know what's behind some of the route choices, though.
This was one of the most bizarrely designed bridges I think I'd ever seen.
Looks like the sort of thing that would fall over eventually, but Jen and I did some little dinky hike up in Jasper. I think I'll give them that. Yeah. So not only is this a cool canyon, they really built this trail in kind of interesting ways. This trail really needs more signage explaining what they were up to. Which is funny because I looked at it and I'm like, well, I did the Triple Crown. I'm not going to repeat it. So this seems like a cool next step. I'm the guy running the channel, and it was deciding my comments were inappropriate. So I guess this is Whispering Paul. Could be. Never many day hikes or anything. It's not like Florida, where they burned over hikers more than once with set fires. Decided I haven't been delayed enough, so climb the fire tower. At least as far as you can go. Top's blocked off. The state looks a lot flatter when you're not on the ground. Just so unique with the overhangs. Okay, and sadly, I'm back on my own and back on roads. That was also one of the most spectacular sections of anything on this trail so far. Kind of feels like the rest of the state's probably going to be anticlimactic after that. It's another one of those things where I kept looking at waterfalls and going, oh, Jen would love this. So I'm gonna have to come back here sometime when we're doing a road trip or something else. Now, I guess if I'm doing the North Country Trail, the overlap does come through here. That was kind of an interesting counterpoint to yesterday where I didn't see anybody. You know, even when I came through Chapel Cave, with the weather and the time of day, everybody had already left. And then though all the crowds were midday crowds. Apparently this place is basically a conga line if you come through on a weekend. Hopefully the pictures came out because, oh, that was so cool. So I'm now exiting Hocking Hills just ahead. I've got about 6-ish miles of road walking. And then there's some odd section where there are 3 shelters in close proximity, which I'll probably go past, and then there'll be no place to camp for like the next 30 miles, because that seems to be how things work. I was looking ahead, and there are a few more campsites and things. I saw the occasional shelter. It didn't look like they were really there with any regularity, but I did see some, oh yeah, call this office about camping here. The Buckeye had arranged, and a few random farms and things. In general, I am a lot less stressed about camping just because it has been less dense and more open. As long as I can get into the woods somewhere, I can make something work. Also, the humidity went down. This shirt is actually dry. I was sopping wet when I met him this morning. I was wearing the rain jacket just for warmth. So the weather was kind of like this yesterday. Felt like it was more humid. And then, of course, that storm hit in the afternoon. I mean, on the plus side, I wouldn't actually know if one was going to hit right now. I haven't had reception since this morning that I've noticed. Been down in a canyon. I mentioned to Ian multiple times how that seemed to be, as much as it felt like Dolly Sods was oversold. People kept saying, oh, Dolly Sods, it's so cool. Oh, it's going to be rough. It's so like much of a climb, etc. And then I popped over it and it was nothing. This was only on my radar the last couple of days and it just blew me away. that had really, really cool waterfalls. And they routed the trail through the cool part. You know, you're going down past Old Man's Cave and Ash Cave and all that. That was kind of what I was hoping when I looked into this trail. You know, you get kind of a wide sampler of a bunch of little trails and going out to spots like that. It does look like my resupply and power options might be getting a little more complicated up ahead versus what I've been doing. My plan had been resupply at Londonderry. Peebles is the next town stop after that. After however many days, I have a box there. I had my reasons, but I really went way too heavy food-wise on this section. I've eaten a lot of the yummy stuff like the dried fruit, and I'm down to a lot of bars and things. I just keep getting hungrier, and yet at the same time I have aspirations for higher miles than I've been making for various reasons. We'll see today. I mean, it's almost 3 o'clock and I'm only 9 miles in because I was busy taking videos and everything of that really cool section. Totally worth it, but you know, here I am again. I know by the time I get to Colorado, the humidity is a minor to non-issue. I don't know where that transition really happens though, since so much of the time when I've been in an area, obviously, Louisiana in September is going to be rather hot and humid. I don't really know about Indiana and Kansas at the moment, especially in my time frame. It is nice that at least so far, it's felt like every state is an improvement over the last one. I am worried about Kansas though. Such a cool area. That was actually kind of creepy coming around the corner. Wasn't expecting to see a beekeeper. Thought it was like a white Grim Reaper robe. I just had an older couple stop and say, did I know that I didn't have to go up over the next hill and I could just road walk around that section? I swear, some days it feels like everybody just wants to skip everything out here. So I didn't really think I needed it, but Ian did drop a cache here for me. So I'm gonna, I think, chug it all and then bring it with me. I don't feel right leaving a water jug here that may or may not be used. And here we go again. So it was well mowed to that point. Obviously things that are cut. Let me see. Pinkish orange flags, but no sign of the trail. Okay, I guess this must be it. Fair enough. Not as bad as it looked from down there. So why didn't you make your daily miles, Matt? Oh, you know, because of the road walking trail, I decided to do one of the few damn trail sections, and they're all overgrown. Also, I think something out here might be stinging nettles. My legs are hurting. That's better. Somebody was working on that down there, but it took me a little while. Better. I initially thought there were 3 shelters up here. It looks like there's just 2 in some sort of a cabin site with the same icon. I'm not going to stay, but figured I might as well come and take a look. Well, so much for the theory of it maybe being private. ADT logo and everything. Fancy. Interestingly enough, this shelter isn't even on far out. Huh. I kind of assumed when they said cabin site it was more of a cabin ruin, but there you go. Just ran into somebody. So, oh, and while I was saying I just ran into somebody, I ran into this guy. Hey, come on. Normally if you disturb them, they'll kind of move off on their own. Anyway, I was able to get around him. He did not care for that. That guy's the caretaker of the property up here. He actually saw me climbing up the hillside. I saw somebody going back and forth and thought they might have thought I was trespassing. Thought it might have been a friend. He knew people going back decades on this trail. Apparently the double shelter, since the one in the middle is a cabin and shouldn't count, he built himself that one I stopped at already because a tree fell on the other one. He said I should be pretty good looking to self camp out towards Tar Hollow, so at least for the moment I'm pushing on because everything seems conspiring to slow me down today. So apparently that rough section right at the start is because there was actually a tornado here, the guy said 2 years ago, and it basically wiped out a bunch of the trees, so you get a lot more intense overgrowth. Versus here, you got a canopy, so it's not too bad. So yeah, I guess that's the remains of the old shelter. He said he basically turned it into a tent platform. Plenty of tenting, and there's supposedly still a privy here somewhere. Man, this is AT style. Seen a sign saying it was over here. Man, they did a number out here. So yeah, that is damn fancy. Hardest part was figuring out how to open the door. It's a slider. So oddly enough, I actually had 2 ticks crawling up my leg, which I felt because they were the big hug bug Lone Star style. Those I'm okay with. I mean, nobody loves ticks, but at least you can feel them. It's those little deer nymphs that make me paranoid. Oh, hey. That was my friend again. I think I keep running into chatty people today. Unfortunately, while I was talking to him, I also noticed a mole that was climbing. That looked like it was one of those small ticks. That is more ticks in the last 10 minutes than I've seen for the rest of this entire trip. Okay. Now it's roads out to Tar State Park. Whoa! I keep getting messages from friends telling me might be able to see northern lights tonight. I mean, for once there's not storm clouds, but I would be amazed. It's happened in my vicinity a couple of times where they say, oh, it may be visible this far down. Never has happened. It's one of those things on the bucket list. Okay, 8:30. I just passed up one good stealth spot. I don't think I'm going to pass another. I've made 20 miles. I would prefer to make more, but if I drop down off of this area, it's back onto a busy road where my options are going to be limited. I did get warned that it's Friday, and with the good weather, there may be people out ATVing. Okay, well, I am headed away from the side of the road. Relatively secure, though I am hearing ATVs off in the distance, so I'm going to try and keep things quiet. Hopefully a quiet night. Home sweet home.